Hello everyone. Welcome to today's extraordinary session. So before we go ahead, I just wanted to check whether I'm audible to you guys or not. Please drop a yes message if you can hear me. I request everyone to drop a yes if you can hear me. Oh, that's awesome. I guess everyone can hear me. Just give me a couple of minutes. We'll start the session. Hey, just 2 more minutes. We'll be starting the session. We are facing some technical issues. Just give us 2 more minutes and we'll be there.
Hi, everybody. Am I audible? Just let me know if you can hear me. Okay, that's great. Awesome. And we had some unexpected issues, but I should be fine right now. Just a minute. Been trying to share my screen, and for some reason I just see a black screen, even though I'll just try it again. Okay, something is loading. All right. All right, everything's in place. Thank you. Thank you all for joining this session. And before I introduce our wonderful presenter for the day, I will like to give a very quick overview. So today's session is all about navigating the US higher education journey, right? Right from, and addressing a lot of questions students have been asking us, such as the impact of AI, what are some common myths and how true are they? And we're very happy to have with us today the admissions director of Mississippi State University, and I will come to his intro in a little bit. And meanwhile, a very quick intro to me. I will be your host for today, Philip, and I'm going, and while he does the session, might have a few questions here and there. I'm Pavitra. I'm the founder of Galvanize Global Education. And after doing my master's at Stanford, I worked in the Bay Area in the Valley for a few years before coming back to India. And somewhere down the line, I felt it would be so nice to scale my journey for the next generation. And that is what motivated me to start Galvanize Global Education. So at Galvanize, we guide students end to end on everything that they need to know and do for their higher education journey, especially those students who want to pursue a global degree. So we start right from the test preparation to admissions counseling and guidance for bachelor's, master's, MBA, and PhD, all the way to the last mile support, such as education financing and visa guidance and so on. So a lot of us in our founding team have benefited from our higher education, and it's just something that we wanted to scale for the next generation. These are some of the countries from where students have actually enrolled. They've paid Galvanize for services for helping them in their journey. And we have guided our students to get accepted to more than 1,000 universities across 18 countries. We have some very interesting mobile applications. Our apps have a combined download of more than 1 million downloads. And these are some places on Quora where you can find honest to goodness reviews from students about our test preparation as well as about our admissions. So before we dive in, Philip and I would love to know about you, our audience. So can you tell us how interested you are to pursue your higher education abroad in the first place? We have a few more seconds for the poll. All right. So for almost 70% of you, you're quite keen on doing your higher education abroad. So that's great. And I'm glad that this session, therefore, will be quite useful to you. So it's time to dive into our session, and I'm privileged to introduce our speaker for the day. Meet Phillip Moss. Phillip has spent the last 18 years at Mississippi State University as the Assistant Director of International Recruitment. And his goal is to ensure that students flock to the university and the right students that the university feels will best benefit from studying there will be given the opportunity to attend. So that's it's a very important role, and he's essentially the person who talks to the international community about the university itself, and therefore he's extremely knowledgeable about higher education and especially graduate education as well as undergraduate education. So Philip actually travels a lot. He engages with students, especially prospective students and their parents. He travels all over, and and his focus is on non-US citizens. Before joining Mississippi State, he was an engineering academic advisor at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. And he advised both undeclared, means they haven't yet decided their major yet, and also students whose major was engineering. So I'm sure Phil has a lot of interesting things to share with us today. He spent his career at public universities, which is fabulous. You know, a lot of people in India do not understand the difference between what experience is like at a private and a public university. And there's so many other questions that they will have. So Philip, over to you. And I'm super excited. You can take over the screen and walk us through your university and shatter all the myths and shed light on a ton of things that our students are waiting to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. My name is Phillip Moss. I am at Mississippi State University. I'm happy to share my knowledge. I will add that in addition to working for Mississippi State, I have a freshman that enrolled at Mississippi State this fall to study electrical engineering. He moved in this week, so he has been there 2 nights now. So I'm very excited to talk about my perspective throughout the presentation as both a employee of Mississippi State trying to help students find the right fit, as well as a brand new parent of a college student. My primary focus is with undergraduate, but I do talk to graduate students all the time. Mississippi State enrolls around 1,200 international students. Over 800 of that is in the graduate school level, and India is our most common country. So I'm happy to talk through everything. And so let's jump into the presentation. My focus of this presentation will be graduate school education. I'm going to touch briefly on some undergraduate just because I think that would be helpful, but primarily I'm going to be talking about graduate school education. All right, lots of ways to start. So this is what the presentation is going to entail. We're going to talk about different ways to study at Mississippi State. On the picture, a lot of my images are going to be from Mississippi State University's campus. This is the central part of campus, the drill field as we call it. And this was an international student fiesta, which takes place each spring with students from all our countries getting to brag on their country and showcase food and other things from their country. A lot of fun for our domestic students to get to experience different cultures. We have around 80 different countries represented at Mississippi State. So let's jump right in. Lots of ways to study in the U.S. ESL programs is certainly common. Starting at a 2-year community college, I will not touch much on community colleges, but community colleges are much more affordable and very common way for domestic students to start their college journey. 4-year universities, public and private. Again, my training is primarily in public. Had 1 year in a private institution working in a student activities and housing role. And of course, at graduate schools could be undergraduate, could be private or public as well. All right, non-degree seeking students. Not going to spend a lot of time on this. The primary thing I see at Mississippi State is students enrolling in, family members of students enrolling in ESL programs. The student that's enrolled in master's or doctoral level is competent in the English language, but their family members want to brush up on their skills. So that's the primary thing I see at Mississippi State. Sometimes a student might have to take some language programs to gain full admission to the university. There are certificate programs that are non-degree seeking. The most common of this at Mississippi State is not on the screen, but it is a meteorology. Meteorology is studying the weather. In the U.S., meteorology is a big thing. Mississippi State is one of the top universities in the country for students wanting to get a certificate in meteorology. And I think in order to call yourself a weatherman in the U.S., there is no required training, but in order to call yourself a meteorologist, you do have to have a certificate. And Mississippi State, as well as Penn State University, are the 2 biggest universities in the U.S. that specialize in those degrees. All right, undergraduate studies, again, breezing through this. I know a lot of you are probably currently enrolled in bachelor's programs or either finishing or close to finishing. U.S. bachelor degree levels are around 120 credit hours. Engineering sometimes is slightly more. And as you know, a typical student takes around 15 credit hours per semester in order to graduate in 4 years. Community college, again, breezing through this. Community college is common in the U.S. It's especially common in the U.S. South, where Mississippi is located. All right, graduate school. We're going to go quickly through some of this to make sure I get to your questions and make sure that you know everything that you need to know. If you're enrolled in a 3-year degree program, Mississippi State would likely accept that. We are going to want to Evaluate your transcripts. It will require external evaluation. Lots of companies that do that. WES is going to be a very common company that does that validation, but there are other companies that that do that as well. For master's degrees in the U.S., most master's degree programs are going to be 2-year. There are some 1-year programs, but for the most part, there are going to be 2-year options. And sometimes those 2-year options do have required training that would be at the end of coursework prior to enrolling, prior to officially receiving the degree. Master's degree, as you might know, a typical credit load is 9 credit hours per semester. There are some cases where you take 12, and 12 is maximum. Typically, if you're taking non-credit hours, you're going to be also working, and this is where we have the funding aspect. Funding varies greatly among U.S. colleges. At Mississippi State, the funding can vary, and $1,000 per month, in addition to covering your tuition, is a general guesstimate. Some funding positions will actually pay less at Mississippi State, as I be quite honest, but some do pay more. And we'll go a little bit further in the next few slides, just more about what funding looks like and how you can get your degree paid for. All right, doctoral degrees, as you might know, a Doctor of Philosophy. My doctorate is actually an EDD, an educational doctorate. I did have to do 2 years of coursework, and then I had to have the dissertation as well. So dissertation, from the day a student enrolls in college, you have 7 years to finish your dissertation until the graduate school and U.S. colleges say that you have timed out and you have to restart coursework. There is always an appeal process if you had life happen and needed an additional 1 or 2 semesters, but typically I would try to not get in that situation. But doctoral degrees are, of course, very prestigious. PhD, definitely a challenging thing to achieve. Funding for, or I guess admission related to funding, many U.S. colleges are only going to admit students they can offer graduate assistantships to. This is true mostly at Mississippi State. Most of our graduate degree programs have requirements where they're only going to admit students they can fund. I wish they would admit more, because I think there's other funding sources out there that they're not necessarily through the academic department. Master's degrees will typically admit many more students than they can fund, and have students find different graduate assistantships external to the department. Some of these assistantships I'll touch on in the next slide or so, just so you can know some examples of different graduate assistantships. Okay. Unfortunately, when you're thinking about funding structures in the U.S., there is no universal pathway. I wish I could say that there was, but unfortunately, there isn't. Graduate assistantships take place at many levels. So we're going to the next the types of graduate assistantships. This is true at Mississippi State, and this will be true at other universities as well. Graduate teaching assistantships, these typically would be the ones that would pay the biggest monthly stipend. There's 3 levels of graduate teaching at Mississippi State, and I suspect other universities would be pretty similar in the levels of graduate teaching assistantships. Graduate teaching assistantships, at the first level, it might be someone that's grading only. They might walk into the classroom with a faculty member. They might help take attendance to figure out what students are there, what students are missing. The next level would be teaching a lab section or teaching study sections, not necessarily teaching a full 3 credit hour course. And then finally, there are graduate teaching levels that where a student is allowed to teach the entire course. English proficiency test would make some difference in which level a student is permitted to teach. And also, I suspect for the master's level, a master's level student would not be permitted to teach a course. It would be a doctoral level student that is allowed to teach a course. Also, a first semester doctoral student may not be permitted to teach a course on their own. They might be required to have a couple of courses of doctoral level of classes before they're allowed to have a course by themselves. Graduate research assistant, this could be various level of funding. Graduate research assistant, you're going to be assigned to a faculty member or assigned to a lab. One of our labs that I'll touch on a little bit later is our Center for Advanced Vehicular Systems, and there is a graduate research assistant that is running that lab. And so the funding for that is probably going to be on the higher end to be able to do that. Graduate service assistant. This is for my master's degree. This is positions that I had. This was more than 25 years ago when I was finished my master's degree. My salary at that time was $600 per month. I had two different graduate service assistant positions. My positions, one of them was an office worker for the graduate school. I worked just helping with administrative tasks, whether it was answering the phone, doing light clerical work, things of that nature. My other service assistant position was working in the admissions office, and so you can see I have both of those roles that have led me to where I am today. But in the admissions office, I gave tours to prospective students. I met with families. I spent a lot of time on the phone and email. Other examples of a service assistant might be working in the residence halls in various roles. Service assistant, there's many positions at Mississippi State and probably on other campuses as well. Unfortunately, the service assistant, they probably pay the least amount. But again, if it's paying your tuition and giving you a small monthly stipend, that paying tuition, including out-of-state tuition, is going to be the bulk of your expenses. So any assistantship that you can find is going to be an incredible thing to have. As you do your college search, and we'll talk about this further in the presentation, sometimes that funding aspect is going to be the most critical piece of your choice. Yes, you might be admitted to many different institutions, but is the funding aspect going to be what you use to help make your college decisions? Okay, other funding, and this is starting to get outside of my area of expertise, is fellowships. Fellowships are quite common in the U.S. They are much more prestigious, much more selective. Fellowships, the purpose of a fellowship is for you to be able to focus on studies and not have to be distracted by the demands of working 20 hours per week. You can go to Mississippi State's website, or you can go to the website of any college you're looking to find different fellowships. There's many at Mississippi State, but again, they're going to be pretty selective as well. Finally, the final advice on that is investigate to see if you meet the requirements. As I was investigating, I saw that some of the requirements that Mississippi State offers required students to study abroad. So if that's not something you're looking at, you're looking to study abroad in Mississippi State, then some of ours required students to spend a semester or two in different countries. So check out fellowships, have that on the back of your mind as a possible source of funding. All right, graduate professional schools in the U.S. Professional schools are part of graduate school, but medical school is probably the one that most people would think of. Medical school in the U.S., after you've done 4 years of undergraduate, you have 4 years of coursework for medical school. Then you have 3 years of general training. So this is not coursework. This is in the hospitals working under physicians, where you're continuing to train. At the end of those 3 years, if you can either graduate or you can decide to go into a specialty. There's hundreds of specialties. Surgery is would be a common example. These specialties could require multiple years of study in order to finally graduate. Law school is after the 4 years of undergraduate is 3 more years of study. Typically, a student in law school is not permitted to have any outside job. So you would need to make sure that you have some sort of a funding for yourself. But you may not have any graduate assistantship or may not have any other job. So law school, you do have to be funded. Pharmacy is a slightly different thing in the U.S. Pharmacy typically is going to be 4 years. However, some U.S. colleges will let a college senior go ahead and start their pharmacy coursework. That varies among pharmacy schools in the U.S. These are just a few examples of professional colleges. There's hundreds of more. And if you have questions about different professional schools, we can certainly dive into what those might look like. And I can talk in general overviews of what admission and timeline for those type of professional schools might be. Related to this, a lot of colleges like Mississippi State would have bragging points about how many faculty members have terminal degrees, and a terminal degree would be considered what is the highest degree in the field. So whether that's a PhD, an EDD, or an MFA. And an MFA would typically be related to art. There's often not a PhD for someone that has an art performance type degree. All right, let's talk about AI and what that looks like on college campuses. Positive impacts of AI, personalized learning. AI can help faculty as well as students really focus in and how can they study for themselves. Efficiency in completing tasks. Let's figure out how we can do something faster and better than we've previously done it. Language barriers. Again, AI is helping in many ways, helping us combat lack of language. AI does have challenges. Academic integrity. I'm going to talk more in this presentation about academic integrity related to your admission application. I will tell you that faculty have become pretty savvy and recognizing what is an AI level project or what is an AI level paper that a student is turning in. So I'd say use AI with extreme caution, because faculty members will recognize that it's not your legitimate work, and you will suffer the consequences of that, whether that's being removed from college or having a 0 grade on the assignment. So just recognize that. Other impact that's going to be true for higher education as well as careers is just job displacement. Is AI taking over all the previous human tasks? And can an AI evaluate a transcript for admission to the university? Is it going to replace my job? And so those are things that we have to figure out. If AI is more efficient, then maybe we should use that. But if it's talking about people losing jobs, and we're going to have to continue to combat that aspect. All right. Using ChatGPT or other AI to write your statement of purpose. Now, positive results of that is the admission essay could be a lot stronger. You could have a very strong essay that is written by AI. The negative result is the college recognizes that it is not legitimate statement of purpose or not legitimate essay, and they could not admit you based upon that. I will tell you that I have reviewed scholarship essays that I could certainly tell were not written by a student. They were written by a computer. So I'd say that can you use it? Maybe. But I would say that my advice for this would be use ChatGPT to help you write it, but you need to go back and edit it thoroughly. You need to go back line by line and put it in your own words. It can help you formulate your thoughts. It can help you make it better, but I would say you're going to need to go through it and make sure that it is not in any way a Chat GPT essay, that it is your essay, but maybe Chat GPT helped you write it. I will give a quick example there. My wife works in medical research, and she had an essay that a doctor had written, and she was presenting it to some politicians. And so it was doctoral level, medical level essay that she was trying to present, and she knew it would be way too advanced for a politician. So she asked ChatGPT to translate it into, I think she started with a third grade level. At a third grade level, it was way too primary. And so she asked ChatGPT to translate it into a seventh grade level or eighth grade level. And it was much more manageable. It was something that politicians would certainly understand. So that is an example of where ChatGPT might be helpful to help. So use it with caution would be my recommendation. Okay, writing sample. A writing sample will be another thing that's going to be part of your college admission application. Writing sample. This is not going to be a unique essay where Mississippi State or another university has a topic they assign you. This is going to be a paper you've previously turned in for undergraduate that you felt like was an incredible piece of writing or incredible piece of research on your end, and that would be what you turn in. If you're applying for undergraduate, there would be a writing prompt that you would complete. And maybe ChatGPT could help with a writing prompt, but I would say, again, use that with caution because admission officers, we've read enough essays, we've read enough writing samples that we can tell what is legitimate and what is not. All right. Impact upon careers is going to be a lot of the same things that I talked about in the previous slide. Yes, AI can help us be much more productive. It can help us be more efficient in our decision making. Challenges are just the ethical concerns, some of the stuff that we talked about in the previous slide. Growth of AI. I think AI is come very far, and I think it'll continue to advance and evolve. Mississippi State is doing a lot of AI research, and so we'll talk very briefly about some of our AI research that you'll see in upcoming slides. Lack of training in AI. Like, I think a lot of us don't completely understand how AI works, and so we're trying to understand how best to respond, how best to use that in our daily jobs. All right. Myth-busting college, types of admission to graduate schools, selective schools. These are ones that are going to be the top 25. A lot of times I see a lot of international students are flocking to whatever the U.S. News and World Report ranks as the top 25 schools in the U.S. And those are certainly some great schools, but those may not be the best fit for you. Find out, you're going to spend some time researching. Just because a school is listed in the top 25 does not mean it is the best school for me. Those schools listed in the top 25 are often going to be very selective. Funding at those schools might be extremely competitive. And so you might be admitted, but you might not have any funding. So think about what would be the best fit for you. Other types of schools at Mississippi State and other places is just the regular review. The college receives your application and then reviews and decides if they're going to admit you. This is regular review. And then other term related to that is a rolling admission. Rolling admission means that as your file comes complete, they give an admission decision. Regular decision means that they have a stated deadline or a stated application date of October 1st when you apply for the following year. So you're applying October 1st, and they collect applications, and they're going to admit the 25 best students, and they're going to admit the 25 best students by late December. And so students that apply early would be the ones that will have the best chance to be admitted. Rolling admission versus regular admission. I'll talk a few more things about that. At Mississippi State and other U.S. colleges, there is no universal policy. If you're looking at the selective schools, they will probably only be admitting one time per year. The other colleges like Mississippi State, some of the larger research universities, there might be programs that will have a new class entering every semester. So that could be fall, spring, and maybe even summer. So those are probably only found at the large universities and the select programs. I was working with the graduate school director, asking about programs, and there was no universal thing at Mississippi State. So I would say in general, most programs will only admit in the fall, but there are plenty that admit every semester as well. All right, more myth busting. How can I get admitted to a U.S. college? Strong grades are going to be important, but at Mississippi State and other places, there is a comprehensive review. If your GPA is below a 3.0, you might not be competitive to college for graduate school. However, if you have strong writing sample, if you have strong letters of recommendation, then you can certainly be considered. So don't feel like you have no chance for admission. Mississippi State and probably other colleges will require external evaluation of your transcripts. The good news or the bad news about this, it is an added expense. I think Wes is going to charge $150 or more for them to evaluate your transcript. The U.S. college will tell you what they're looking for in the transcript evaluation. For Mississippi State, and probably mostly, it's going to be a course-by-course evaluation is how it's phrased. So a course-by-course evaluation. The good news about this is if you're applying to 7, 8, or more colleges, this would be a one-time expense. So Wes is only going to charge you one time for a transcript evaluation. You're just sending it to every college that you have applied to. Right, language requirements. At Mississippi State, there is no universal requirement. Every department has different requirements. At Mississippi State, some are as low as 61 and some are as high as a 79. So again, it's going to vary based upon which program you're applying to. If you have questions about this, you can certainly reach out to me and I can help you find the right answer to that. Your letters of reference, we're looking for faculty member that have done instruction to you as an undergraduate. You're going to provide email addresses to Mississippi State, and the department will reach out to these faculty members. So you're not submitting letters on your own. We do want the email addresses. That's probably going to be pretty common as well among U.S. colleges, is email addresses for faculty members that can testify to your academic strength. All right. Timeline at Mississippi State and probably most U.S. colleges as well. Once your file is complete, the graduate school will review it and decide, is it ready to go to the department? So you might be admitted at the graduate school level, and then this would probably be the fastest process. The graduate school itself, probably less than 2 weeks for a transcript review and submitting the emails to your references, reviewing your test scores. GRE, I did not list on here. GRE is optional at Mississippi State. GRE could be helpful in your admission, but it's not required. The academic department will next get your complete application and then decide, are you admissible to the academic department? So you might be admitted to the university, but the academic department might decide that you do not meet their criteria. The academic department, I've seen this take more than 3 weeks sometimes. So the fastest is going to be the university admission, and then the academic department. This sometimes takes a lot longer. So on that note, start early. All right, myth busting is continued. This is general information for studying the U.S., both undergraduate and graduate level. Start early, making sure that you're not waiting at all. Make sure that you have detailed plans. Don't get locked in on one school. Make sure you have more than one college on your radar. Think about different locations in the U.S. that are going to be a best fit for you. I would say for the most part, most students I'm working with have some connection to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a pretty rural campus, as you might have seen from some of our outdoor pictures. Yeah, is that what you're looking for? All these things are going to go into what is the best fit for you. All right. Timeline. Make sure that you plan well in advance, as I've said before. Sometimes it's going to take a complete year. GRE, TOEFL, are those required? Are those things that that you have to take? Spend some time on your essays and personal statements, making sure that those are as strong as you need them to be. I would say do not jump quickly into the process and submit stuff. Once your application is submitted, your personal statement is submitted, then we have it. You can't take it back and edit it. So make sure that it is as strong as it can possibly be before you go through the admissions process. Big thing on here is communicate with your family. If your family is helping with funding, if your family is going to be supportive of you studying in the U.S., making sure that everyone is on the same page and everyone is on board. All right, continue to plan. I am someone that uses a lot of Excel spreadsheets. So if that's you, then I think you and I would be on the same page. If you're applying to 2 colleges, that may not be something you have to do, but if you're applying to 7, 8, or 9, then having things organized, making sure you're aware of different deadlines at different schools, making sure that you're not getting schools confused. I often get emails that are addressed to me, but have a different college listed in the email. I will say, personally, I'm not offended in any way if I get an email that references applying to a different college in there, because I understand students are applying to multiple colleges. However, some universities, some individuals might not be as laid back as me, and they might be more rigid, and they might be offended if you write a different college name in an email to a faculty member on accident. So I'd say make sure your communication is going to be accurate. Okay. Figuring out where you're going to apply. Flexibility. Make sure that you're considering all aspects. I've shared this several other times. India is our most common country, which I said at the beginning. I was talking to one of our students from India, and he said in his home city, and I don't remember if he even told me where it was. He said, I can't stick out my hands and not touch another human being. And so he was talking about how appreciative he was of Mississippi State, where he could walk outside at night and see the stars, how he could breathe fresh air, how he was not constantly surrounded by other people. And so what is that something you're looking for? Or no, do you like the aspect of big cities and bustling life? Mississippi State is going to be a little slower and a little different than a lot of places. And so is that something that is the best fit for you? On the screen, it also says, consider staying home in your own country. Is that going to be the best fit? I'd say don't get locked in on having to study in the U.S. There are great options around the world. Canada, I was talking to a student yesterday from Uzbekistan that is looking at studying in Poland. He's applied to Mississippi State and a school in Poland. And so it's not common that students share other countries they're looking at, but I do know that find the best fit for you. And I know Mississippi State is a great fit for me, great fit for many students, but it may not be the best fit for you. And I'd say I am in no way offended if you tell me we're not the best fit. Related to that, my salary, I don't make any commission whatsoever. So whether I enroll 1 student or 100 students, my salary is the same. And so I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't want you to arrive at Mississippi State and say, Dr. Moss, Mr. Moss, you were not honest with me. You lied to me. And so I want to make sure that any communication that we have, I am on point. I am giving you the full, the good, the bad, the everything with Mississippi State. Right. So how do you find out about colleges? Certainly participating in webinars like this is a good first step. I'd say going to in-person or virtual college fairs could be other strong steps. However, in the U.S., there's around 4,000 colleges, and how many of those are going to participate in virtual college fair, and how many would you even find? And so there's so many ways to connect with universities. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's the best fit. So college fairs is a way, websites is a way. Every larger university is going to have virtual campus tours. During certain times of the year, not right now, I have blocks of time set off where a student can request a virtual visit with me. That's always a great way, is connecting with your local admissions counselor. College fairs by Education USA. Education USA is a great resource. You know, they are nonpartisan. They're helping students in various countries find their way to the U.S. However, Education USA, they are not fully aware of all 4,000 colleges in the U.S. And so Education USA is going to be just another way to find information. And finally, as I said a moment ago, you know, reaching out to me or different faculty members. I would say it's very common for students, once they've started the application process, to reach out to faculty members. If you go on Mississippi State's website or other websites, you're going to see a lot of faces that look a lot like you. Mississippi State has a lot of faculty members from around the world, and so you feel free to reach out to those faculty to find out, you know, could you study under them? Would they be willing to let you work with them, let you study under them? That's going to be pretty common as well. All right. So your network, these are some examples of network, friends, family. All of these are going to have some knowledge of different U.S. colleges. When I'm talking to students, I always ask them, how did you hear about Mississippi State? And almost always they had a friend that's currently there, a friend that graduated, a family member that went there, or someone they knew. Very rarely, maybe 10% of the time, do I have a student say, I did a web search and found your school, and you look like you'd be a good fit. There's almost always some connection. So use your network. Talk to your faculty at your college. So, like, where did you study in the U.S.? Where did you go? Just to find out what they thought. You know, like, how did you what did you think about it? You know, did you like the weather there? Did you like the travel there? And so all those things are going to be different aspects of what might be the best fit for you. On the screen there, you see our mascot. We're the Bulldogs, so that is our mascot, Bully. So we try to have a lot of fun with student life stuff, and so Bully looks like he's at some international student event. All right. I know, hang with me for a little bit longer. Money matters. Money matters for undergraduate students I'm working with, as well as graduate students. The money matters aspect is a huge aspect of the college decision. All the time, I have students tell me that they loved everything about Mississippi State, except it was not within their budget. So figure out, what is your budget? What are you able to spend? What are you willing to spend to study in the U.S.? Are you looking for fully funded scholarships only? Then that would be something that you would need to consider when you're going through the process. All the things on the screen, those are just different aspects of what might it cost to study at Mississippi State or study other places in the U.S. You know, are you living off campus? You know, what does rent look like for monthly apartments in that specific area? Mississippi State, as I've mentioned, a smaller town, it might be more affordable. If you're looking at living in New York City or Los Angeles, you know, two of the states in the U.S. that enroll the most undergraduates or the most international students, those might be much more expensive. And so what is that going to look like? So just think about all those things. What does a meal plan look like? What is it going to cost to eat every day? Mississippi State does have some programs for students that have food insecurity, but realize that those might be limited. Again, money matters is going to be an important aspect of your college search. All right. Academic major, do you have a major in mind? I know all of you are likely enrolled in a current academic major right now as an undergraduate. So what graduate school are you interested in? What are you admissible to? If you're looking at graduate schools in engineering, are you only able to apply to the ones in your specific area? Are you able to cross over to a master's or a doctorate in a different area of engineering? If you're looking outside of engineering, there's could be lots of ways to get in without any specific degree. All right. This is going in specifically to Mississippi State. In terms of admission, looking at your test scores, your GRE, your language proficiency test, your undergraduate grades, are your admission better for master's or better for doctorate level courses? I see lots of students that do a master's level and then do well at Mississippi State and then apply the PhD program. For Mississippi State, there are lots of master's degree options. And then there's lots of PhD level options as well. So many opportunities. So we'd love to have you consider some of the things that we offer at Mississippi State. As I said earlier, around 800 students, 800 international students at Mississippi State, 800 international graduate students at Mississippi State. So check us out to see would we be a good fit, and could you find a lot of other Indian students that would help build your support network. All right. Research. What is research means simply that you have your hands-on learning. You're outside the classroom. You're getting to do rather than just reading a book or watch online video. Mississippi State prides itself in having very high level research. We are in the top 2.5% of U.S. colleges in our research, and our website is a great resource for some of these. One of the ones I got to tour 1 week ago was the CAV Center. The CAV is the Center for Advanced Vehicular Systems. This is trying to make cars more fuel efficient, making cars rely more on battery and less on fuel. Each year they have an Echo Car competition. The Echo Car competition is sponsored by one of the U.S. car companies. It's often a 4-year competition, and so a lot of students are not going to be able to be involved in the competition all 4 years. The Echo Car competition, in general, is going to be engineering students are involved. A lot of electrical engineers will be involved in the Echo Car competition, but the way cars are designed nowadays, there's other aspects of engineering that could be involved in Echo Car as well. Echo Car, it's right now, I think we're in our 2nd year of the 4-year competition, and so they've stripped the car down. They're trying to get past some of the security systems that they're involved in the car, and so it's kind of really neat to see all the things that are happening with the Echo Car. The director of the Echo Car lab says that her students that spend and typically a freshman is not going to be involved in this. It's going to be juniors, seniors, and graduate students that are involved in the Echo Car. And she said her students that are involved in the Echo Car do not have to apply for jobs. They are being sought out for jobs. So one of just incredible aspect, if you like cars and automotive design and just the circuits that are involved in these advanced cars, that might be something to consider for you. Other engineering research areas that are going on. Center for Clean Energy. We're trying to make trying to make energy more efficient. The president of Mississippi State has a goal of having Mississippi State be environmentally friendly as possible. We're trying to be completely off the grid in the next 40 years, and 40 years is a long time, but we use a lot of electricity. Our high performance computing lab listed at the bottom. We have the 5th fastest computer on a college campus in the U.S. The energy consumption of that building, of the one building where the computer is equal to the energy consumption of every other building on campus. And I think there's around 130 buildings on campus. So that one lab is using half the energy that we use on campus. And so trying to get off the grid is going to be a challenging aspect. Last week, I also got to tour the RASPET Flight Lab. The Flight Lab is an airport. It's the airport for the city of Starkville, Mississippi, where Mississippi State is located. The airport does not have any commercial flights landing there. This is just a private, owned by Mississippi State for research. The unmanned systems, we have all sorts of things happening with things that I think me and others that are not really in the know would call a drone. So this is not, and I think the drone is just one aspect of an unmanned aircraft, but the RASPET Flight Lab is kind of a really cool thing to see some of the things that we're doing with these drones. One thing related to agriculture research is they have a camera attached to the drone that flies over a planted field. A camera on the drone knows what a weed looks like. It has a ability to spot spray a weed, then fly over again the next day, the next week, and the GPS coordination, it knows where it's sprayed, and so it's not going to spray in the same spot again. So just trying to be more efficient in how we spray for weeds. Other research at Mississippi State. Mississippi State has over 60 different research labs, and so these are the main ones I'm just touching on. The high voltage lab can simulate lightning. That's a kind of a fun thing for students to see. Like, what is lightning going to have an impact on lightning hitting anything on the ground? And so knowing how can we make things safer. There is a AI research going on within electrical engineering as well. Milo is through the College of Business, and Milo, one of the things I've seen that they do in there, they have students and they're given a headset, and then they're watching a TV ad or watching a website, and so the headset tracks their eye movement to help companies figure out what on the screen drew their eye, and what can we learn from that. So the College of Business has some pretty cool stuff related to that as well. Similar in the College of Business, not on the screen, we have a related to professional golf management, and it has a ability to let students or anyone swing a golf club, and it tracks their golf swing and tells them where they lost power, where they lost movement, things related to that. So that's kind of a cool aspect of College of Business. College of Agriculture, of the 360 million that I mentioned, vast majority is going to be in engineering, but agriculture is coming on strong as well. Food safety, crop efficiency. The president of Mississippi State, his undergraduate, master's, and doctorate are all in agriculture, and so he has a desire for Mississippi State to lead the nation in trying to figure out how we can be more efficient in our growth of crops with a growing world population. How can we combat world hunger, and how can we make sure that we have enough food to continue to feed everyone? So lots of stuff related to that. Entomology, this is bugs, and so if anyone didn't know what that means, so bug research, we have that going on through the College of Agriculture. Aquaculture, so aquaculture, this is freshwater research, so rivers, lakes, streams, as opposed to oceans. So our focus is on aquaculture since we're located central U.S. Newest and fastest is data science. If anyone is interested in data science, I would not be completely shocked if my college freshman switches to data science. He loves math. He loves all sorts of things thinking about bioinformatics. So I would not be surprised if he switched from electrical engineering to data science to focus on something related to data science. And right now, there's 12 different majors and currently just a master's degree in data science. However, data science is it's not located within any academic department, so that's probably why there's no doctoral degree, because it's not housed by anyone. It's just housed by the university in general, because those 12 different areas are located in 12 different departments, doing different focuses of research. All right, Mississippi State, as I've said before, rural campus, and so is this something that attracts is attractive to you? I'd say that the vast majority of people that come to Mississippi State are going to have some sort of automobile. We do have a public transportation system that will get you around the city of Starkville. Starkville is a town of about 25,000. So is that too small for you? Or is that what you're looking for? So again, have to decide what's the best fit for you. Urban, are you looking for an urban environment? You want to be in the city that has subways, has a great bus system, has tons more people. Yeah, it all depends on what you're looking for. All right. That's about to the very end. I do see there's questions in chat that I'll check out, but this is my information. I'm happy to answer questions here. I'm happy to get you the person that can answer it for you. So.
Hey, thank you so much, Phil. That was wonderful. And if I may say so, I learned a lot today. Lot of new things about the school. The building with that computing power is very interesting. It shows some amount of non-negligible visionary thinking on the part of the university to really stay at the cutting edge. Right? It's a huge investment, and I think they're skating to where the puck is going.
For sure, and
yeah, that
we
was.
We would love to have students come check it out. Yeah, if you go on our website, you'll see some information. If you can't find it, email me, and I can send you links for you to see some of the stuff that we offer. I was looking over some of our YouTube videos. Some of our YouTube videos highlight some of the research that I talked about, and there's many things on the web that can help you get connected to Mississippi State to find out, are we what you're looking for?
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty amazing. And there's a lot to be said, right? For excellent. Yeah. Thank you. So, I just wanted to add a couple of quick things towards the end. This is about Galvanize Global Education itself and the role we play. And I totally understand if it's getting late for you and if you need to drop off, but I would just take a few minutes, and stick on with the rest of the students. So before we move on, our session is almost, it's time to wrap up in a few minutes, which means what we really would like to know from you is your feedback, right? What is your feedback on today's session? How did you feel about it? The information that you received, the clarity, the context. Seeing responses coming in super quick. Just a few more seconds. All right. Thank you so much. 95% of you found this session to be extremely helpful. So, that's great. So wonderful. Thanks for the feedback. And that now brings me to the role of Galvanize Global Education and why do we organize these sessions? And when we connect with universities, it's not, yes, it's important to create awareness about these schools and how your life can be changed, but it's also important to know how you can actually go study there, right? What is the path that you need to take to attend such a school? And that's exactly what I would like to show you here today. So very quickly, how can Galvanize help you in the journey, right? So I want to talk to you about two things, right? One is we have our test preparation. So you can prepare for the GRE, the IELTS, or the TOEFL. And we have students who've enrolled with us for more than 65 countries. And we have demonstrated an average in score improvement of more than 20 percentile for all the students who followed our process, right? So I would maybe like to show you very quickly what it might look like and what makes our self-paced GRE prep different. So if you were to see my screen, this is a sample plan. It's a study and it's a personalized plan. So for this student, it's in this particular case, the student has not done so well on the diagnostic. That means the starting level for the GRE was pretty poor. So if you notice, we don't start. For such a student, we will not begin their preparation at the GRE level reading comprehension. So we are actually starting with VS stands for verbal strengthening. So we start with the basics. We actually introduce sentences, right? Before we make you do reading comprehension and large passages, we first introduce sentences. Similarly in math, rounding decimals, percentages. So if you need the basics, then you can start with the basics, right? And the way it goes is you can watch the video and then you can take a quiz, right? So you have a video and then you have an assessment, for example, that is based on the video. So when you're watching the lesson, you know that you're going to be taking a little quiz right after. And these quizzes are usually short at the beginning so that you don't have much time pressure to deal with. And then as you master more and more concepts, then the quizzes become a little longer and you can feel the time pressure also start to come in. So our goal is to make sure you get a great GRE score with personalized preparation. So this is how our study plan would look like. And you can see we have a whole lot of plans. You can see, a whole bunch of tasks as well, different concepts. You can, for example, if you're in the mood for verbal, you can just select that and then you can start doing all the verbal tasks. So this is how our material works. So you can see by the time you've come to the reading comprehension, you would have completed a lot of things, right? So if you think about it, the focus is on taking one day at a time. For example, on this date, you just need to take whatever they give you. You don't have to think about the big picture and get stressed. So that's about the personalized study plan on our GRE prep. And then we also have diagnostic tests and full-length mock tests. And we also have a score predictor. So as you proceed, you will know exactly where you stand. So that's to give you an idea of our GRE prep, right? And similarly, I would like to talk to you very, very briefly about the admission counseling that we do here at Galvanize. So the idea is once you enroll with us, we need to completely understand your profile, your needs, your goals, your academics, your projects, and so on. And then based on your responses to all of these questions, we would shortlist universities for you and classify them as ambitious, practical, or safe. And you can review all the information that we provide about these different universities, and you can pick the ones you want to apply to. In parallel, we would also help you to draft your statement of purpose based on inputs from you, right? Do not write, and like Phil said, do not risk your statement of purpose by going for a templatized version. Don't get anyone else to completely write it for you without your inputs. Right? So we gather inputs from you in the form of lots and lots of little questions, and then we help you put a narrative together, because writing about ourselves is just not something Indians are used to. It's nowhere in your school curriculum. It's not really there in the bachelor's degree either. So we help you with the statement of purpose, and we guide you on how to approach your faculty for the letters of recommendation as well, right? So help you with the entire application and also support you in terms of the financing or the visa guidance and all the pre-departure. So let me actually show you like real quick what this might look like. So here you can see a whole ton of students. You can see students that these are all our students and they have different academics, different GPAs. They're from different places in the country. They want to study different things. You can see the departments vary quite a bit. Although there's a strong leaning towards STEM fields and computing related fields, right? And in terms of where they got accepted to, different universities and so on, and in different countries. Right, so let me just take one example. So here I have picked a student of ours from Bangalore who wanted to study engineering management. So we gather a lot of the information, whether you've done any publication. The student has done an internal publication, has done a 9-month industrial internship. You can see what projects they have done. And there's a little bit of work X there as well, short-term goals, long-term goals. What's your budget? What are the criteria which are important to you when we shortlist universities? So this student cares about the subject, the ranking of the university, the cost of studying, and so on. So based on inputs from the student, we help them apply and we give them guidance to different universities. So this student got accepted to University of Southern California, Northeastern University, and Cornell. So where she decided to join Cornell, right? So similarly, this is how you can go about the everything happens on Google Docs, your SOPs and all the essay components, right? So occasionally we've had a student or two whose professors say that we will not be able to write a letter of recommendation from scratch. That's not something we're used to. Why don't you bring us a draft? In which case we can support you there as well. So, and finally for the visa, once you finalize the process where you're applying, you submit your I-20, we would be able to go and step by step, we can guide you on how to go about the whole process, right? So we have a lot of samples. We can show you how to apply to the appointment as well, how to fill up the forms. We even help you with a mock interview for the visa. So that's kind of how we go about the process. So I do hope that gave you, a context into how Galvanize can help you and support you for your higher education. Right. So as someone who has been through this journey myself, when I applied for my master's degree, I did not have any guidance. I pretty much had to do everything on my own. And it was quite a struggle to figure out what to do, where to go, and whether and it's such a complex process and one has to navigate it all by oneself. And that is that's not right. So, all of our counselors have guided thousands of students to do their higher education abroad, and that's the experience and support that you would be getting at Galvanize. So I'm very happy to say that on our admissions counseling, we have a 99.3% success rate, an admission success rate for everybody who followed our process. So that's in terms of our admission counseling. So I hope you have got some clarity there. I spoke to you about our test preparation. And if you would like your profile to be evaluated by any of our admissions advisors, just fill in this form. You can click on the link that would be shared with you on the chat right now. So you can click on that. And if you wish to, if you want to have that your profile evaluation, in addition to submitting the form, why don't you just give us a heads up, right? By letting your preference by sharing your preference in this poll here, then we can reach you and have a session. But do make sure you have your resume with you, because we would need to have a lot of your information for us to give meaningful inputs. Right? So especially those of you who are confused, if you're not sure whether you want to stick on to your field, maybe you like engineering or maybe you dislike it, maybe you want to switch departments, maybe you want to do data science, or maybe you want to do something completely different like management or marketing, right? That's quite possible. So let us know. And I'm quite happy to know that 3/4 of you are interested in availing this session. That's great. So we will do submit and we will reach out to you, right? So thank you so much for the session, for your questions. I would love to answer any further questions if anyone has. I'm happy to take a few final questions. Phil covered so many things. I just have one request. Whoever is asking a question, please do share your video and turn your audio and video on so we can, put a face to your name. We can have a face-to-face conversation, even though it's remote. We would love to make this more interactive. So yes, please, whoever has a question, I know some of you are sending me a direct message. They are like a one-on-one message on Zoom or a chat on Zoom, but I would appreciate it if you can ask in the group. Just raise your hand and we can unmute you and we can help you with your questions. I do see, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Casey Mobi Obalum asking me a question. Again, I request you to ask to unmute, like you can actually, 1 second. Yeah, if you can unmute yourself and ask your question, that would be great. I mean, we are excited to answer, but can you ask your question? Anyone else? Bunch of you are asking me one-on-one, so he says he can't unmute. Okay, can you ask your question? And let me try and see if I can unmute for you. All right, that's great. Can you tell us which part of the world you're from? And how do I pronounce your name and what your question is?
My name is Obalom Kasemobi. You pronounced it right.
Okay, thank you.
I'm from Nigeria,
Wonderful.
West Africa. My question is, can you study medicine and entrepreneurship at the same time? Like, can you apply for both at the same time?
Can you study medicine and entrepreneurship at the same time? Phil, I think this is a question that's best addressed by you because you would have seen all kinds of combinations at your university.
Some, yes.
Yeah, that would probably not be a very common joining of majors. Entrepreneurship is something huge that's going on all over the U.S. now. Mississippi State, it's huge, but medicine is so specialized. I think medicine would probably be one of the few things that would not allow a joining of an additional major. Double major, that probably would not be very common. From an undergraduate perspective, someone could be pre-med, so studying biology, preparing to apply to medical school, as well as studying entrepreneurship. But from a graduate school level, if someone is in medical school, that is not a logical joining that would be permitted.
Okay, I wonder what the motivation is. Perhaps it's someone who wishes to be a doctor and start their own clinic or practice. right? That might be a possibility. You might be able to take some courses, while it might not be a major that you would declare. You may be able to use up your electives towards courses in entrepreneurship, for example. That's just a thought, right? That could give you a certain entry point.
Okay,
Yes.
I've heard what. Thank you.
How was the session?
It was beautiful.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, anyone else have any questions? Hello? Okay, so should we wrap up? Okay, there was one question. It's actually more like a one-on-one question. The student wanted to see from which universities, from which institutes in India students have enrolled with our organization. So why don't I just, I'll just share my screen and give you an understanding. So this should give you a fair enough idea. So we have like tons of colleges. I think this person wanted to see if we have any students from IITs. So let me just Google IIT, and you can see a ton of IIT, a triple IT as well. All these different institutes. I hope that answers your question. What else? This person wants to see if you have students from NI. Yeah, so there you go. Let me actually do the whole abbreviation. Okay. You do see a lot of NITs there. Especially if I sort. Yeah, there you go. NIT Silchar, NIT Surathkal, NIT Trichy, NIT Warangal, Raipur, Kurukshetra, Goa, Calicut. So yeah, we have a lot of students from NIT as well. Any other institutes that you wanted to see? Do let me know in the chat, and I'm happy to showcase. Okay, all right. That's great. So yeah, you all shouldn't be so shy. You should just ask questions addressed to everyone instead of to one person. That would be great. So yeah, because I don't, and there will be a lot of people who would have the similar questions, and everybody can benefit if you were to do that, right? So there you go. Right. So these are some of our students from BITS. Okay, so I'm going with that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and yeah, thanks everybody. Thank you so much, and I learned a lot during this presentation, so this was great, right? So I always enjoy learning more things, and I think it's so true what you said about. Yes, you have these fantastic organizations like Education USA, that try to bring universities and students to meet. But as someone who's actually at the university, they would know the nuances and the intricacies and some very subtle points, right? So that would be really helpful. Okay. Okay. There's now suddenly some more questions coming in. Okay. Rezwan, you can unmute. Let us know where you are from and ask your question, please.
Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm from Iran.
Okay, you're from Iran. Okay. Hi, Rizwan. Yes.
Hi. First of all, thank you for your session. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. And my question is about contacting the professors before applying for aquaculture or marine biology PhD program. And can we apply with our unofficial transcripts? And is GRE needed or not? That's my question.
Phil, take it away.
All right, so specifically for Mississippi State, we will need official transcripts to apply. But yes, you can contact faculty prior to applying. I think they would welcome that, especially if you're asking specific questions about types of research that you're interested in to see would we be a good fit. So that would be perfectly appropriate to email a professor and say you're interested in, fish, or whatever. And then the faculty would respond like, no. And I think in general, the faculty might say either yes, would be great, or they might say, no, you should consider X university. I think faculty in the US are going to do that type of thing. GRE is not required at Mississippi State. GRE not required for admission or funding. So yes, reach out to faculty member, go to the website, find a faculty member that you think would be one that would respond. And I'd say classes start 1 week from today. And so realize that if you email, I would probably say if you email them today, you might get a response. But if you email them 1 week from today, it might be lost in all the new students' emails. So just realize that that faculty have a lot going on. So with classes starting in 1 week, I would go ahead and probably email sooner rather than later.
Great, thank you so much. And you mean we have to apply with our official transcript, which is like evaluated by US? Is it okay? Yeah.
Yes, we would want evaluated transcript, and Wes is not the only company that does it. On our website, I think there's 2 other companies listed that give discounts to our students. So any transcript evaluation, Wes sometimes. I mean, I don't want to endorse anyone over the other, but Wes does not seem to be the fastest.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question, Rizwan. And if there's no further questions, we would like to wrap up. I'm quite impressed that we have a lot of participants attending from India, but the questions came from Nigeria and Iran, and I find that really interesting. So thank you so much. All right, so yeah, that's great, and really appreciate you for your time and the knowledge that you shared. Very enlightening, informative, Phil. I hope I can call you Phil. I just started doing that inadvertently. My bad. But yes, thank you so much for your time and for the facts, the very, very interesting and unique facts and nuances that we could otherwise not have easily obtained, which is why it's so important for admissions officers to and enrollment directors to have these conversations with more and more students, right? And we will be recording and sharing this session on YouTube. So in case any of you missed it, you can take a look at it. If you forgot something, you can come back and review it. And we look forward to having more sessions with you. And if there are some fields of study that a lot of students want to know more about, so maybe we can have some concentrated sessions as well. We can pick a topic and go deeper into that. So thank you once again. Really appreciate it. So
thank you all.
bye. Yeah.